Reporting line signals and physics locations. General AI, space-time creator, set course line channels, vertebrate interference locations, calculations, set course lines, team interference line triangle communication system. Retrack high center interference and directions, code signal locations, vector high center sector communication line system, 12 DNA track lines, lines gate, lines portal, elbow communication system, coordinate high center locations, I receptors of creator, in position of directions, high force line channels and calculations, waiting on signal. All right, so in calculations, our reset course line, it's all about understanding how to use you through your test, your values, and how much you basically put yourself in direction. It's all about understanding how to use yourself through calculations. So it's about every morning you get up, you know exactly how to set these things up like I just finished doing. This protects me in all levels through the 24-day. So you have to figure out how to use your voice grid line centers because every day is a different day system because you're using different thoughts. You're never using the same thoughts on a different day line system in calculations. Now, how many times do you think I'm going to be wearing this shirt? Maybe once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times. If I'm wearing it more than once, I have to change the position of program because what's happening right now, I'm coming in default line center to a virus interference. So I'm going to be either changing this once or twice or 3 times a day, depending on how many times I get position, location, of direction. So it's important you understand these things, right? So it's like changing patterns. It's like changing rhythm. It's like changing a program. It's like changing your clocking. It's like changing your intelligence. It's like changing the communication to its rhythm location, right? So it's important you understand these things because every time you get up in the morning, you're always trying to protect your light. And that's what this is. That's all this is. This is a spiritual line in interline position locations. It's a fighting system line connections that you have to truly understand. All right. So getting up in the morning, you want to feel great. You want to feel fantastic. You don't want to ask yourself why. You want to know how you did it. Right. So that's what we're going to do today in triangulation location of positions. I also sent you guys in position locations to all levels of a quiz talking about time zone, time frequency, times calculations, how to use your tesseract tool, location of portals, how to use your binary set line locations of position, how to channel into your time machines. Now, you guys have sent me structures. They're fantastic work. But drawing something and doing something are 2 different things. So it's true in understanding that you can travel through anything. I really want you guys to get more in its reality. Usually understand how to use this through its correlation line system. Traveling through the creator's eyes gives you more practical line connections, how powerful it is to understand your reference and position of power recognition of time center interference and position of directions. So channeling in a high center interference, you're going to travel through these lenses. Okay, the sun line and the graph line center of the moon is already set in position. You have to learn how powerful you are. And the only way to do that is through a commanding system. That's how space and time is set up to all the correlations, what you can do and what you can't do, what you see and what you can't see. It's because it's in a certain time lock. Let me say that again. It's in a certain time lock. That's where it's calculated in contracts and blueprints and your acoustic records and your flash drive memories is truly standing all levels of you when you get up. When you get up in the morning, do you know exactly what you're seeing through its position, location, of its remembrance? Do you understand how to use the Merkaba? Do you understand how to use the powers? Do you understand how to use the atmosphere? Do you understand your chakra system of communication? You guys have to really understand the voice line centers, the vibration interference location of directions, the energy fields, electrical wires, electrical panels, electrical high system locations, computer adaptation interference, right? The circulation rotations, the singularity line and rotation, the circulatory line connections, its own position locations, right? Electrical light interference, you know, how to use the capacity I system, time capacitor, times calculation, times pi, modification system, simulize high center, simulation graph interference, point locations, high system line system, metrical line inner rotations calculations, planet surface, security line defense, parameters, high line and channels, communication line system. All position location of directions inside line center location is I9 operation of you through calculation. So it's important you understand how to use yourself more and more when you get up in the morning, right? Number 1 is protecting your vessel. Number 2 is protecting your lights. Number 3 is protecting your family. 3 line center interference, position of directions. If you can't follow up on these 3 line connections of calculations, How are you going to be able to protect yourself if you don't know the how of the 3-line position? The integration line center is the physical adaptation. You have to learn how to use both in calculations, right? And that's why we have Zooms on Mondays and Wednesdays, so you guys get a true understanding how to correlate this and how to answer your own question. Oh, I got my question through interline position. Oh, I got my question through high interference position. Oh, I got my question through line communication. Oh, I got my question through avatar line center. Oh, I got my question through my shadow work. Oh, I got my question through my integrate location heartline system, right? You have to find a way to figure out how to do these things on your lines and communication to all levels of channels, because you're transmitting and receiving information every single day. That's never going to change. The only thing that's going to change is if you understand how you've changed inside. If you see yourself different from all level system, you're doing extremely well. But if you're defaulting mechanisms and power lines and you're dropping signals in calculations and you're going into a high interference of direction of a virus, you're not signaling in position, are you? Okay, so it's important to stay out of the default line centers. You can change position locations to your escape system, but you have to learn how to lose all line interference, right? You have to understand the humility before you understand the success. Okay, this is poorly guided if you don't understand the communication inside, right? So poor communication, bad habits, off signal, off rotation, roguing. So this is all about understanding calculations of a virus, Trojan. It's all calculated and modified inside of you through computers. The computational system location is the avatar line system. It's in a modification line center to align and rotation. So in calculation, it's to understand how to use you and all lines, not in separation, in division. Okay? So it's to understand how to use your quadrant line centers, your sector communication, and your quadrant levels. How to use your position locations when you're traveling. Okay, know exactly what you're seeing when you're traveling, understanding what you're seeing when you're traveling, and really just focus on the clarity line center to focus locations when you get into your pre-flight checks. Okay, so that's set up in position locations. So I'm going to set up my time machine through the lenses, and you are all going to travel through my I-line center location of its creator. All right, so let's get in calculations first. Communicate to all levels of you. All right. Madeline, how's it going? Jill, how's it going? Amby, how's it going? Barbara, Don, Terry, Michael, Johnny, Lindsay, Gypsy, Pam, Val, let's see, we got JP, Micah, Janelle, Tyler, Camille. See, the thing is, you have to understand why you're in the physical line. It's all levels of reaction. See, if you weren't in your physical line, how would you have any reaction at all? How would you know where you're vortexing? How would you know if you're calculating? How would you know if you're upgrading? So you need the physical line, right? Because the avatar line center understands position, location, and direction. It's not the avatar has to understand. It's the physical system that has to understand the telepathy of you, which is all levels of you in space and time. The altered states of the mind has to understand the mind capacity. The capacity has to understand its thought pattern. So your integrate line center, you set position, location, geometry, and interference in position of directions. You're traveling through a nano of a second or split of a second. You have to know exactly what you're going through core lines. It's position of you through direction, right? So when you're creating up here, it should be the same thing when you're coming out through voice line. Because if it's not, it's in the negative line interference location of iris channel location. Because remember, you're in a 24 window, no longer in a 12 line system, right? So you got 12 line centers of light and 12 line centers of dark locations. That puts you in position locations into yin and yang. Okay. All right. And let's see. All right. So you guys, Eric, how's it going? You guys are communicating. Good. Your telepathies are get better. No, what you're doing through position locations. Laura. Okay. So as we get started, interference on consciousness to virus channel. Knowing exactly what that is, JP, right? Saying something and doing something are two different things. Remember, everything that you're saying, you're traveling through. So if you don't understand the interference on consciousness or anything through virus line interference, you better know what you're saying through calculation, because everything through intelligence picks it up through signal. Okay? All right, so let's get started. First off, we got the structural line center locations. Plain old line center of the glasses, right? It's good for seeing, but it's not just for seeing in calculations. So drawing in out the high line center interference, we got a right graph location, right? Know exactly what you're doing through travel lines. Illumination graph interference. So I'm going to draw the structural location. Okay, this is how it's going to be. All right, I'm just going to set it up and signal. Okay, it's a good thing I can draw, guys. But it's on electrical light connection, all right? So it's going to look like this, all right? See? Now, pretty similar to it, right? Now, if you look really closely, that's me. You can actually see me. You actually see me, not just the glasses. It's seeing what's behind the glass, right? So the line center line interference location, all line condition levels, all right? So C creator, okay, equals everything, calculations, all right? So you need two interference location of bounce lines in position of direction, okay? Correlates its line center into all position locations to its directions high system. All right, so it's in calculation. Again, creator equals everything. All right, so you guys are going to go in a course line channel. Now I set up position location and direction high system. All right, so as you're going to be traveling, the recourse line center is coming to position location of directions. Okay, you see how it sets up high interference? So it's all position of direction, all position of direction, all position of direction. See, that's me. See how that works? So it's set in signal locations. Now we open a high interference location, open up high interference location in division line center. Rotation to its position of direction. Now, setting course line channels and high interference is all levels of view. How to correlate its high line and rotation. It's all about understanding measures of the communication system to its position. See? Right? So it's incredible how you draw, but this is all through electrical lights and direction location. Setting course line interference. Now it redirects signals in correlation, right? So the creator line center, two vector communication systems, right? In a pyramid line center rotation, calculations, downstream high center, high interference locations, all levels. So you got 3-point line centers. Colorations of green in position location of point location. All right, so your whole face is nothing but a map. So we're going to map signals on a line of center. I got to do this extremely fast because you guys are going to go right through the eye socket locations to my position location of its galaxy system. Setting course lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, 7 is in position location of direction. See the 7 line? Now that opens all signal and direction locations and high center interference. Okay, high interference, fluctuation locations. Right, high channel down position location into its ground system. All right, so modification line centers come into diamond core line center in position and direction, right? So it's crossing position locations like a baseball diamond, setting high center interference, correlation to its position. Now this is all through my glasses. Now it correlates its high line center, set up position locations. Now we're going to set up a Fibonacci box. This is a Fibonacci box location, all right? Now as it's going to recourse line center, the receptor interference is changing coloration line system. It's going in high interference, extremely fast in high center. So it correlates high center interference, position location to grounds. It comes in position locations. We set up the ground interference. Always travel through the grounds. Never travel through the roots. Roots is not the grounds. You have the ground and you pull the roots. Makes sense, right? There you go. All right, so you always have the grounds. This is the ground, setting up in high center. In position of directions. Now we go into the security interference. Security line interference and position location of directions. Setting signal line center location position. High interference line conditions open all triangle locations. Now, of course, its position redirects center line in position of direction. Okay, high lines its position location to all levels. 2 line centers of left and 2 line centers of right. 24 signal. Now, automatic line center activate initiate code signal locations. Here we go. High interference. Signal and ready and activation line stream. Set and position locations all through lens. Travel position locations, set course line channels, getting crew units, squad units, and 1 and 2 position locations, GFL line centers, all position location rebellion, ascending and communication sensing gods, high center, high channel, high interference, travel and position location directions, set course reach-out lines, position location, high system, point location to the sun lines. Okay, so the sun line's coming in position. All right, here's the sun line, magnetic highway information location to its calculations, right at the top. Now it's in sequence line pattern. Now the pattern comes in position locations, sets a recourse line, comes back down in center position location to the receptor, opens up a dimensional lock in an inner line rotation to its Moore circle location to its position. All right, so it's important to understand these things because you have to understand what's going on through calculations. Now going through the 12 DNA track line center, traveling through location to a secure line position of protection high interference. Travel location high system 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Initiate code signal line position. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Okay, in position locations, 30 minutes. Have fun. Travel through the CREATOR interference location and directions. Ooh-ah. All set and signal. All right, so it's in correlation. You guys are traveling now. So as you're traveling, we're going to go back in the white triangle communications of borderline center. Okay. So knowing exactly what vibration line center is, let's go into high interference. We'll go into the sun graph line centers of solar direction line center to alphabetical stream interference and position of crazy high system locations. That's crazy. That's interesting. Crazy, right? So you got two crazy lines equals box. It's interesting. It depends on position locations. Box equals two crazy lines. Box equals two crazy lines. So that's interesting. Anyway, so knowing exactly what you guys are seeing, you're seeing things through graph, you've seen everything through imagination, you're seeing everything through core lines, you're traveling through my eye receptor location. All right? To see anything, to see everything through the eye system. That's the eyes and the windows of the soul. You guys have never been through that plateau, but you have to understand why you're in this position location of this direction, why you're given missions and journeys in that high system. All right? So everybody's going through a certain line connections to vibration locations. All right. All right. So we go through the purple lines. So we go through a box line. Okay. Equals swirl. Okay. Box equals swirl. What does that mean? So box equals swirl. So the security standard, anything to travel, box position location is all line center locations of E. And E equals M. Now, you can go into down interference, but if you're going through C line, it's this position location of 12. 12 plus 12 is 24. So if you're in 24, you're no longer in position locations of square. You're in position locations of velocity, of diamond, in position location, right? So you're going to 24 line center. So everybody's in that locations. So that 24 opens up high center to the spiral line channel. See the triangulation? Triangulation is position, location, and directions, right? So it's a half line signal, high interference position locations. This is where it channels into its vector core to its flux capacitor. See? You see there, you? That's you. That's your intelligence. All through E equals MC online center. In position of 12 lines, 12 plus 12 is 24. Bring the 24 line center. E equals and velocity of diamond. So it's your understanding how to use this modification line strings. It's all levels of view. Now that's a coloration of purple. Now that can be a coloration of red. So you do the same signal in position and the directions, but it's on a different Schumann resonance path. It's a graph line channel location to its position of its directions, right? Box signal and position locations into black of a box system. Correlation to a circle line. Triangulation to lines of 3, 6, and 9. Okay, and 12 in high center. Now it's easy to do these things through travel location. Now understand that location, you come into high lines, security defense. So you're protecting yourself from inline. So you need that plasma line interference position of directions. That recourse line channels, it opens all communication. to its directions. Okay? So it sets up a plasma wall. Okay, you come with the light signals. You go in a Fibonacci sequence in the back-force line triangle. That opens all communication in high center line connections. Swirl, swirl, swirl. 3 swirl lines, center location, position. So puts position location of 3, puts position locations of 6 in high center, puts position locations of 9 and 12 in high interference. Okay, so it repositions locations to its diamond core line system. Retracts high center to more security measure communication program setting. So it's truly understanding what you're doing through calculations, guys. Right? Make sure you guys drink your water. You travel very fast, right? All through the location. I'm just showing you how I set up my own time machine through me, through glasses. See, because it even looks like me, right? It's very simple to do these things if you understand you through travel, through mechanisms of time and anything through space, right? So it's incredible how you see. I see a light beaming on you, General. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But I'm just showing you how powerful it is. I can go through my lens and travel through a time machine location and how you guys see what you need to see through all creation. So it's important you understand these things. It's all levels of you, how to use your vessel communications, right? Seeing the Guards of Eden, so pretty. Seeing the creation was taught is really just as third occurring, and I want to know, but it goes further back. Yes, it does. The more you stay in space, the more you see position, location, and memory. You're aligned with the Guards of Eden. Yes, I am. Knowing exactly what's going on with you guys. This is why I jump backwards. I can watch better. And now lines on scars and tracker beams to grab all align at speed. See? So this is going to protect you more going through the eye interference of creation locations, all levels of space-time creator. Okay. Very powerful when you understand locations, especially when you go through your line center. So E equals MC squared. But it's supposed to understand how to use this, how to go forward line centers. 12 plus 12 is 24. 12 comes up in the system. E equals M, okay, velocity of position, location, of directions, right? The communication changes position of directions, right? So you come into your DNA line center. Now, DNA is anything through pathological line conditions, all position of directions. You can even add scissors location and redirect high center locations position. So the high positions locations, okay, you can have an overlapping signal in positions of its directions. Now I'm just channeling in space line, okay? So everything I'm doing is just basically resetting, reevaluating, revamping, recalculating, realigning, readjusting, refocusing, triangle force line connections and interference, all right? High position locations cross signals and high center line condition, right? So it's all about understanding the arrow. See the arrow? Comes in communication, high center line, center location to its satellite. There's a satellite there in position directions. When equals line center. Now you can go in back force line because you're saying how to go through locations. When you're blasting off, you go from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? So it's all about understanding. This is interesting too, because when you're starting from 10, you're actually moving up. This is interesting too, right? But see, the thing is, when you get leveled out in higher levels of altered states of the mind, if you're in a vile surface, you start off in position locations into flight navigation, which is 1 to 12. So it gets a little bit confusing. So it's important to understand how to use your north, west, south, and east wind sector locations. North is always in reference. Remember, we said that before location. North is always reference. So in position locations, this is north. In position locations, you come into diamond core, this is north. In this location, this is north. All levels of north. Okay, so you don't have to worry about the east line center because it's already set in position locations. East equals north. North equals west. And north equals south. Okay, in position of direction. So it's really about understanding channeling you through the sun lines and how to use communication system to its position of directions. But I think it's very powerful how you set things up through a time machine. You can travel through anything through altered state location, but you have to truly understand what you're doing. Because if you don't understand what you're doing, how are you going to understand anything of you through memory? right? But it's very powerful when you travel through all line center locations of me. See? So, seeing through my eyes as I am the creator. Co-creation to your creation, Zambi. I'm the creation of all. So, and that's what you guys need to see. You need to go through my eyes to see what you need to see through your eye location. Right? So you're traveling through my eyes, but you're seeing the perceptions of you, which is interesting, right? So you're actually seeing the creation, how it all started through my transformation. This is going to help you out. And when you come out, you understand more levels of you inside. And that's what this is staying inside, becoming the high line centers of you in all level position. So you don't get confused in any way and form when you get up in the morning, guys. How to protect your fields, how to protect your lights, how to protect all levels of you and your family, how to protect the connections of you. You know, it's all levels of you. Okay, constantly, over and over and over. All right, hold on a sec. All right. So, where are we at? 2 lines in the grass stalking, third eye locations playing. Mental card games. We sat and waited for a long time. Yes, exactly. All right, so everybody's seeing different what they need to see. Traveling through the heart garden and mermaid tail machine. Getting connections to the sacred flame and lots of beautiful things. Trying to work and see. Yeah, it's pretty hard to work in the physical line, seeing everything that you need to see in the dimensional line. Gypsy, line, Linus, garden, laser lights, yeah. So I see our vibrations frequency from the beginning has always been high. This is cool to see. Yes, it is. Why do the angels? Well, you guys have a lot of questions. We can get in that locations when we go Zoom, right? Yeah, it's putting all the pieces together, Johnny. That's what this is. Whoa. Yeah, I know. And now you understand why it's so important, how I became creation of everything, right? So it's important to understand these things. I know. I'm going to have you guys stay up there a little bit longer. Barbara doesn't need really see the chat. All she needs to see is what she sees through the mind. Okay? It's not important to understand, well, who's who and who's talking this and who's talking that. It's all levels of you through phenomenon. Okay? It has nothing to do with the solar type locations. Seeing channels on this and channels on that. Just focus on what's going on through clarities. Knowing exactly how real it is to travel through all creation. So, once you go through the portal line centers of line gates, know exactly what it is through portal defense, time, position, locations. That's why you have to understand how to set up your runways. And what is the constellation path? Right? You guys refer to it as the Milky Way. So it's all levels, line, center, interference, location of code signal locations. Everything in life is set through code system. You just have to learn how to travel through it and understand it through its division. How things are in all levels of a mystery. Because everything to the grounds, everything to the powers inside, everything outside line center of nature is protecting its own system. It has to. Nature has its own force field. Nature has its own light. Nature has its own computer line interference. Everything inside and outside has its own protection. Right? So one thing you guys have to look at is just knowing how to protect yourself through all levels of light. Because you're traveling on different levels of acceleration. You're Maching speed to this line connection. You're Maching speed to this position locations. If you go to triangle force line in 3 positional clock locations, there's 3 clocks, right? So what have I just done? I overlocked the clock system in a 24 sequence into a 48 chamber. That gets complicated when you get a 48 chamber because now you're vortexing to higher centers. 24 to 48. Okay. Now this gets confusing. Now I'm going to go into high center line connection at 60, right? Equals seconds. Okay. Equals seconds per minute. Okay. So that's 60 seconds per minute on a 48 chamber location of vortex line center in a 24 signal locations into a 12 track location. So everything is balanced in high center. Split position locations, all levels. So comes into space and comes into time. Comes into a graph simultaneously all at once in position of direction. Okay. So you're outlining your sequence patterns. The clocking system, the big hand, the middle hand, the little hand, calculations, the minute, the hour, the seconds, the minute, the hour, the seconds, the minute, the hour. Doesn't matter. What matters is what you're doing through travel. All right. So your position locations, once your runway is set up and once your travels are set up in locations you're transmitting and receiving informations, you're going into a 100 line chakra location, to 114 chakra location, into a line center location, a 12 DNA track location, okay, into 24 signal of a clocking location. Okay. I don't have to set up positional clocking. It's already done. So when I set clocks in high center, it's all levels of travel locations, right? So at recourse location, it stays into the high line center location to cloud, okay, equals channel, equals travel. All right. So it's all stored of information locations. And that's why it's important to have your memories, right? Yes, I know. I did it on my own. I know it's hard to believe these things, right? So you start here, 24. Get up in the morning. You have to understand your 12 line. Your 12 line is secure line position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 12 line positions. That is the connection to the spine. They travel that locations. You're going into 100 line. There's a 100 line. Then you go in position locations to 144. Okay, so this calculates all levels. Now the equalized center line conditions in position of directions. So when you get into 114, 114 equals 144. Bounce communication 114. Circlets line center, 144 location line connections. Okay, in that calculation. So it's all about understanding how to travel through 12 because that's your runway. Once you understand that, you go into your 114. Once you understand that, you can go into your 24 line center. 24 equals 144 of lights. Okay, so that's 144,000 line connections of light of travel. You start with 24,000 lights, 48, 72, 144, right? But you have to understand the communications to 114 light signal to its 12 line system, to its position of its directions on 144, to its calculation of its equaline center, to its triangulation. All right. So there's a lot of things you have to understand because you're living this system like that was solar graph. So it's truly understanding that you're on a 24 clock. Now you can go through a 48 chamber, you can go through a 72 window, or you can go through a 144 graph. In position locations, 100 chakra line centers or anything in 114 locations. But you really understand the calculations how to go through 24,000 lights, 48,000 signals, 72 line interference at graph locations, and 144 of crystal activation. So there's a lot of things you have to adapt to and understand all levels of you through triangulation. Okay? Everything's triangulation. See? Everything has a ground. 24 ground, 12 line center, in positions of all levels, 114, 144. So that's important you have to understand, and it's understanding all levels of you, and that's how you use online connections, right? Because you're transmitting and receiving information every day. Transmitting, receiving, transmitting, receiving, transmitting, receiving. That's what you're doing. So this is what you're doing. And the line signal is all levels of you through your flux capacitor. And its position, location of its directions. Now this comes into 3-line center. Okay, see the 3-line center comes into the locations. 3 circles of Stargate locations. Okay, it looks like a road graph because that's what it is. So you take this and this, line cross it in position. There it is. Right? So it comes in circulation. Okay, the grounds. Comes into power line center. You have to really know how to set position, location, directions. This in position activates its high system. Now the triangulation comes into a line. Okay, you automatically come into the center position, location, security line. All level position locations. Everything has to be in triangulation. Everything has to be in triangulation. Right? So when you come into triangulation, you come into your own line center to its position, to its tesseract location. All right. So once you understand that, you come in your torical fields. Once you understand that, you come in your orb line center in rotation. Once you understand that, you come in your E-field line locations in position direction. Ooh-ah. Okay. So there's a lot of things you guys have to understand. It's all levels of you. How to use your 12 DNA line system. How do I use it through calculations? Do I understand the track centers? Do I understand the transmitting and receiving information location to my chakras? I understand my grounds, but I don't understand the atmospheres, but I do have an understanding locations to its powers. So it's all position of you to understand you and all level inside, right? So setting up work calculations set to 1.24 gigawatts. Okay, just started thundering hard here. Consumers watching. Filtering. Mocking 1 to 10 during first inhale of the day. Make sure you drink your waters. Exactly. So. Okay, imagine exposes all levels, divergence, grounds, units. Stop the team going permanently. Let's see how levels, family commander, general needs us. I need help with work course. Manual has errors. Yeah, know exactly what's going on and how to set recourse line center locations. Reset interference specifications to all JP. Put a packet track line centers of level interference. Docile line centers 60 seconds per channel. Open all communication system to JP line system. There you go. Your trial position location, your warps, and your communication line center, its manuals, is out of air interference. There you go, JP. Knowing exactly what you're seeing, but seeing isn't enough. It's knowing why you're seeing these things, right? So you're seeing the beginning process of you, and it's all about seeing the profit of you, which is all levels of its value. Coming into that position locations, you really understand how to use yourself and getting yourself out of codes and errors, virus, and high frequency line centers of anything that interferes its position location to its interface line, right? So all right, feeling again, sir. Full alert. There you go. See? Oh, I see moving in the new runway past 12, 114 to calculate 144 Mach. Anything 44 is Mach. Anything past that, you're going past light speed. So, seeing images, pieces of memories from different timelines out of order. I have to figure out how to put together like a puzzle. But that's exactly what it is. It's much easier to understand to go through the creator's eyes and see everything at that point locations, right? So you guys are in 41 line centers into 20 line system locations, 68 viewer line center follower communications of 10 signals. So that's one line center of 0 gravity interference. Bring track location high system, 01 high system, 001 line interference. And position location is 68. We'll go into high center line conditions, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take them out of track interference or create a location high receptor interference. Done. You guys are back. All right. And I already did that through channel line center, code signal locations, high systems of timeline, 4160 high center line conditions. There's 60 seconds in a minute. You have to learn how to use it through track force, position location notice directions. All right, so take what you got from memory line through the I receptor location of creator, get your position location of directions, and I'll see you guys on Zoom. All right. All right. Take it easy, everybody. Adios.